general. I'll give you general information about CAUS, and then I will tell you about some of the achievement CAUS has. And basically, those are the motivation for people to look into applying to a university like CAUS. Then I'll go into details about the programs available, the different facilities that we have in school on campus, and then the application process and questions. Okay. Yeah, so basically CAUS was founded in 2009, that is roughly 16 years ago. And the idea was they wanted to have an institution that would be a world-class research facility focused on science and entrepreneurship and innovation and technology. Okay. So they made sure that it was a university that would just focus on graduate schools, like graduate programs. So when I say graduate programs, I'm talking about post-bachelor's, so masters and PhDs. It's a very, very diverse environment with lots of international communities, and I will tell you a little bit about them later on. So we have about people from more than 120 plus countries, present on campus. And another thing that is very unique about CAPS is that it is a place that is very strongly founded on interdisciplinary research. So you can have people who are doing, so again, don't forget, this is science-based, right? It's mostly STEM that we do. So things like social sciences are not part of the programs that we do in CAPS. So like I said, it's focused on engineering, on entrepreneurship, and on technology. Yeah, so there's lots of interdisciplinary research that happen between those who do different aspects of engineering. So mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, biological engineering, different things, electrical, all of them come together and they do interdisciplinary research. So it's a very, very lovely research facility, I would say, for graduate level research. Now, the guy who came up with this idea was a king actually in Saudi. His name is King Abdullah. And that's why the school is named after him, because he had this vision. He wanted to create an environment where people can do top-notch research without having to worry too much about anything. I'm seeing something in the chat. I'll just take a brief look at it. Okay, it doesn't concern me. Yeah, so you can, if you have questions along the way, you can put them in the chat or you can wait until we're done and then you ask them. Yeah. So his name is King Abdullah. He passed away in 2015 at the age of 90. But he was the king as at the time, and he wanted to have an institution that would be dedicated to research to attract people to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And he was successful in doing that in 2009, and the school has been existing since then. Okay, so while they were setting up the school, and currently we have a number of lovely partners that have been formed over the years. Again, this is just a 16-year journey, and it's not like most universities you find in Nigeria that are, especially like federal universities, that are like 50 years, 60 years, very old. This is just a 16-year-old university, and it has actually done a lot on the global stage in terms of research. So these are notable partner universities that we collaborate with most times. There are hundreds of them, but I'm just bringing to your screen those ones that are quite famous, like Cornell, Stanford, MIT, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego. Right, these are like some of these are Ivy League universities that we do collaborate with. Now, I've actually had the opportunity to take courses with this university while being a student here at CAUST. So we have notable partner companies like Aramco, probably engineering people, petroleum engineering people will know who Aramco is. Aramco is the biggest oil company in the entire world. So Air Products, SABIC, also a subsidiary of Aramco, and Dow in terms of petrochemicals. So we have lots of notable partners that also do research and funding within the university, right? So let me give you some information about what CAUST has been able to achieve over the past 16 years. So they've been named as the best university in the Middle East like 3 times in a row. So last year, 2023 and 2022, by Times Higher Education, so as the best university in the Middle East. They've been ranked number one in terms of the amount of citations per faculty. So this is by QS, and you know QS is the number one ranking university ranking organization globally. So in terms of the quality of our research, we've been ranked number one, which is quite outstanding actually for a university that is just 16 years old. The reason why QS has not ranked us among general ranking from universities is because again it's a university that is focused on just masters and PhDs. But QS rankings usually go for bachelor's inclusive. Like your program should have bachelor's, masters, and like graduate and postgraduate basically. Um, so because we don't have bachelors, so QS doesn't rank us. So they rank us based on research, based on faculty, based on courses that are offered, right? And in terms of the quality of research now, we're ranked number one globally, which is really a huge feat. Like I said, CAUS focuses not just on engineering and STEM research, but they also do a lot of translational research, which is if you have an idea that you think can benefit the industrial sector, for example, they have a way of translating ideas and projects into like a startup. So we have currently 30 plus active startups that have raised over $1 billion in investments so far, which is also a very, very huge feat for just a university. So they are very, very supportive of entrepreneurial spirit, right? And that is why most of the research we do, even as students, they are kind of like industrial projects. Like what I do is something that is currently being applied by the Saudi electricity company, for example, in my PhD. So they do lots of industrial projects. They want to see your ideas and research come alive and be applied into a kingdom and globally. So annually, we usually have students who are like students and alumni, people graduated from the university, being named as under Forbes 30 under 30. This happens annually. So which shows how much of impact people from this university actually make. House is home to one of the fastest supercomputers in the world. So the fastest in the Middle East is in House currently. So, and I think it should be around number 19 or number 20 in the world. It's called Shine 3. We used to have Shine 2, and it used to be number 7 in the world actually. But it was upgraded, and with time, with all the different increments in Moore's law, right, processing power, we fall down to number 20. But it's also a huge feat because that means we have not just people from the university, but people from outside the university coming to use the supercomputer for projects, high-level simulations, and things like this. And one of the things I really, really like most about CAUST personally is that it has the highest local students to foreign student ratio I've ever seen, right? And this is not me, this is not lying. Mr. Oladipupa was actually here to check this out. We have more than 64% foreigners. So normally in most universities, you would find local students, people who are from there, occupying the largest ratio, right? It's ideal. You want to take care of your own people first. But in CAUS, the reverse is the case. It's a very, very extremely diverse community. I'll give you a small anecdote. I came to Saudi with the hope that maybe one way or the other, I might be able to get into learning Arabic, for example, because I like learning languages and I speak in about languages. So, but when I got into CAUS, that dream was shattered because everybody speaks in English. You can hardly find people who are going to want to be communing with you, communicating with you in Arabic. It doesn't mean people don't speak Arabic. I'm just saying the foreign community is very, very large, right? So this is one of the things that I also wanted to highlight about CAUS. So we can go now into the different programs. So what we call faculties in Nigeria, here in CAUST, we call them divisions. So like you would have faculty of engineering, faculty of law, faculty of, I don't know, school of nursing. We call them divisions here. So CAUST has 3 main divisions, which are all STEM-based. And then they have a 4th one that was introduced last year. So the 3 divisions are physical science and engineering. I would call it PSE for the rest of this talk. They have computer, electrical, and mathematical science and engineering. I'll call it SEMC. for the rest of this talk. They have biological and environmental science engineering, BESI, and then we also have the technological innovation engineering, which is the TIE program. Okay, so these are the four divisions we have, but I would say three main ones. The first three are the three main ones because they've been around since the inception of the school, and the TIE is newly introduced. Okay, yeah. So now for the programs that are offered, the academic programs that are offered by PSE, you have chemistry, chemical engineering, you have earth science, earth system science and engineering, um, material science and applied physics, and then mechanical engineering. So I currently am on the, let me see if I can turn on yeah, pointer. Okay, great. So I currently I am in the chemical engineering department. So these are departments under this division. So I'm under the chemical engineering department. You have earth system science and engineering where you have people who do geosciences, petroleum engineering. Those programs are under here. Okay, so in case people are interested in that aspect of research. Then we have material science and applied physics. Yes, we have applied physics people here on campus. And mechanical engineering, of course, where they do research on combustion and clean energy generation, aerodynamics, and jet engines, simulations, and things of that. Things that are related to that aspect of research. Then you have the computer and electrical mathematics science and engineering division, SEMC. So they have the Department for Applied Mathematics and Computational Science. They have computer science. They have electrical and computer engineering as well. And they have statistics. So if these are areas of research that you are interested in, or people that are interested in them, CAS offers these programs. And finally, you have the BESI, which is the Biological and Environmental Science Engineering. So I know we do lots of plant science and bioscience research especially in the northern part of the country, actually, in Nigeria. So we have some researchers who came from the northern part of Nigeria to come and join us here at CAUS. So we have plant science, bioscience, marine science, environmental science and engineering, and bioengineering. And you'd see these programs are actually sometimes they are programs that CAUS focuses a lot on, and this is because Saudi Arabia is mostly desert, right? It doesn't mean there are no lovely places. I've been in Saudi for 6 years, and it's an amazing country, very, very open to people. And but it's in the desert, right? A huge part of the country is in the desert. So there's lots of research that goes into how do you make plants grow in the desert. There's lots that goes into how do you sustain marine life, because again, Saudi is bordering the Red Sea, right? The almighty Red Sea. Saudi is bordering the Red Sea. So you have lots of biolife and biodiversity in the Red Sea that they are studying. If you are a plant science or bioscience person, then you know about corals and coral reefs. And some of these coral reefs have begun to, some of the diverse coral reefs that you have globally, they're actually found in the Red Sea. So this is a place of interest to marine researchers most times and tourists who are interested in diving and stuff like that. So there's lots of research that goes in that aspect as well. So these are the main programs. Now, the TIE program, the TIE program is only one program they do currently, which is basically innovation and technology. And you come up with an MVP, that's a minimum viable product, and you can either start your own company from there. It's a master's program, and it runs for 16 months. So they have currently only one program, so they don't have lots of programs like that. And I'm sure with time, they will add much more programs. So in terms of, if I'm speaking too fast, please, Mr. Isaac, let me know, okay? So in terms of the research facilities that we do have, like I said, we've been ranked as #1 in terms of research by QS. And so one thing I found about CAUST is that, most universities do, if you're into research, most universities do collaborative research. And one university can have this equipment, another university will have this equipment. And so They kind of like collaborate. One thing with KAUST is KAUST has most, if not all, of the equipment a researcher would need, right? And so you can get everything done in the same place. So most people come from outside to collaborate with people in KAUST because the equipment are present in KAUST. So we have hundreds of laboratories that are well equipped, state-of-the-art ones. Now, apart from these laboratories that belong to each of the departments, KAUST created what you call, or I would say we have what you call the core labs. Now, core labs are like focused laboratories that are specific to certain niches, right? So we have what we call the analytical chemistry core lab, which is a laboratory that can analyze samples or chemicals, So if you work, if you have something like Dangote's analytical chemistry lab that they have in the Dangote refinery. So, and most of these refineries like Dangote, sometimes if they don't have their own laboratory, they contract out the analysis of their products to other laboratories. I don't know if that makes sense. So KAUST has an analytical chemistry core lab where outsiders actually come to KAUST to contract the job to KAUST to analyze things for them. Same thing for all of these other laboratories. You can see imaging and characterization, supercomputing, like I mentioned with the Shaheen earlier on. Like you have really, really tasking deep, heavy simulations that people do for those who do simulations. And one thing with simulation is you want to run lots of equations at the same time and come to a solution to represent something that looks like what is physical, right? And so that's why they employ the use of supercomputers. And so people come from outside to use KAUST supercomputer and they pay to KAUST. So all the work that is being done by KAUST core labs, like I said, these core labs are not the departmental labs. The departmental labs are there. But then there's core labs that you can contract a job to and they will do it. So it's a way KAUST uses in making money, like to sustain themselves. Okay, so we have lots of core labs, about 11 of them, and they are well equipped, they are standardized. I also use these core labs sometimes if I want to fabricate something that does not exist in the market and I want it to be specifically like this, I can go to the core lab and make it. The research funding is going to cover that. Okay. Now, we have on campus, I mean, apart from student life, we need to have the opportunity to do other things, right? So we have other facilities in schools, we have lots of restaurants, forgive my spelling here. We have a golf club, a standard golf club with 10 holes. We have gyms and lots of swimming pools. We have beaches, we have stadium. We have other mini football fields. There's a hotel, five-star hotel on campus. We have a standard health clinic. We have multiple libraries. And we have multiple student centers as well. So there are lots of other facilities that exist on KAUST campus that allows you to, feel truly like you're in a community. So it's not just academic. You can actually have a life outside of school as well, right? So I started bodybuilding in KAUST, although I stopped that after a while. But all these facilities are actually available, right, for students who are on campus. Now, like the theme of this talk was, KAUST is fully, fully funded. So every single student in KAUST is actually on scholarship. So if you get admitted into the university, you automatically get scholarship. Everything's free, and I'll talk about what the package entails later on in the next slide. So this is the KAUST application process. It's usually just like any other application process. You need to get your documents ready. There's an online application portal, which I'll show the link at the end of the slide. All the information you need are there. They try to make it as simple and straightforward as possible. There is a section dedicated to facts that's frequently asked questions. And I'm also willing to answer questions if people do have them. But mainly, these are the main documents they ask for. So they ask for your academic transcripts and your degree. If you're still in, if you're still doing your bachelor's, you can still apply if you're in your third or fourth year, because you would already have at least 6 semesters of academic transcripts. Okay, and that's enough to apply to get you what they call the conditional admission. Right, so you need to have a statement of purpose or what we call motivation letter, your CV. You need 3 letters of recommendation, usually 2 from academic sources and 1 from non-academic related people. You also need to submit language proficiency tests. Now, this is sometimes can be a little setback because I know Nigerians study in English. I started my university education as well in Federal University of Technology in Mina, actually, before I left the country. So even though we study in English, they still require a test of, your language proficiency. They only give exceptions for people who either are citizens of countries like UK, US, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, or if you have a degree from these countries, then they will allow you to, then you're exempted from submitting the language proficiency test certificates like the IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge, and stuff. And then after that, you get to do 3 interviews, one with faculty, and then one with faculty, one with the HR, and one with the senior leadership of the university. Yeah. So these are mainly the documents they have. And then there are other documents, of course, that will be like supporting documents to the application. Like if you have won awards, if you have taken part in some workshops, you have some experiences and all of that. Those can also come in very, very handy. Okay. So yeah, like I said, the application process is very well detailed on the website. I will give you the link at the end of the talk. And yeah, the program, this is what it covers. So tuition is completely free. They give you some stipends every month for upkeep. There's free housing on campus. You have free health insurance every year being renewed. And they also give you research grants for your research and travel support. So they support you traveling back home every year. So they sponsor your flight back and from home every year. So it's a fully funded program basically. And most times, from my experience, you find these programs in the Middle East mostly. You don't find them in Europe. You don't find them in North America as well. So these are this usually you can find it in the Middle East. I think Qatar has the same program, and there's something similar by Khalifa University in the UAE as well. That's in Abu Dhabi. So and CAUS also gives this lovely full funded program. So you don't have to worry about flight tickets if you get admitted, right? So yeah, and that's it about it. So these are some of the main useful links. If you have any questions about CAUS, um, their website is there. So caus.edu.sa. If you want to apply to CAUS, there's a separate website for that, which is apply.caus.edu.sa. Now there is a slide I did add to this presentation. It's about so CAUS also has, apart from the full programs that we do, like be a master's or a PhD student, there's also what they call the Visiting Student Research Program, right? VSRP. And this is if you want to do an internship. So you can actually come and do internship in CAUS as well if you don't want to study or if you don't get admission. It's another way to get connected to CAUS is through the VSRP, so Visiting Student Research Program. And information on that can be found on this website as well. So thank you very much for listening. Again, my name is Michael. If you need to reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn, and this is my email. So if you have any questions, I will be willing to take them now. Hello, is anybody there? Mr. Isaac, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still very much with you. Thank you so much, Michael, for this insightful presentation. I really did learn a lot. And I'm also now very much interested in KUST. So please, if you have any questions for Michael, you can signify or just type it in the chat box, and Michael will be ready to answer every question you have.
Yes, please.
Please, any question?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I can do that. Somebody asked me to send the links in the chat box. Yes, I can do that easily. So let's stop the sharing. Yeah, so please, if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask them. Okay. Share the links now. Okay. Okay, so I just dropped the links in the chat box. You can access them there. Yeah, so please, if you do have any questions, again, you can ask. It's either I did a good job or a very, very terrible job. It's either you did get everything or not. It's a pleasure, Mr. Abdullah.
Thank you, Michael, for your time.
You're most welcome.
It's been an insightful session.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Obviously, you know that I was in Saudi Arabia a couple of weeks ago or months ago now.
Yes.
Yes, and so I really wanted to be able to let our students know what was possible. And obviously for us, we prefer to guide our students in the process of going abroad for two different reasons. One is that you provide the student with the right information and then they're able to go. The other thing is that we get to protect our nation's interest by sending the right kind of people to, Saudi Arabia. When I saw you and the other few Nigerians there, one of the things I remember you told me was that there's a level of upstanding that is required for you to function, in Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of rules that you need to follow. And so it's basically our job to do that due diligence and put the students through what is required, just like we do for all of our other countries, to be able to get what is, the expected result of getting an admission and funding opportunities and things like that.
That's true.
Yes. So, I don't know if you guys have you taken any, do you have any questions in your
I'm
the
reading
inbox?
the chat now and I've seen two questions. So somebody asked which country is KAUST. So KAUST is in Saudi. It's in Saudi Arabia. Please do not conflict it with the UAE or Dubai. They're not the same. The UAE is a separate country, the United Arab Emirates. That's where you have Dubai and Abu Dhabi and the rest. And then you have Saudi Arabia, which is a separate country as well, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So somebody is asking if someone who has a higher national diploma, so this is Adewale Paul, can someone who has a higher national diploma in accounting also apply? And what is the age limit? So what I would say is anyone is allowed to apply, but of course, if your background program does not really fully correspond to the program you're applying to, they will tell you that you do not have enough background knowledge of that course. So if you're doing accounting, for example, what's the closest? The closest I could think of would be something related to mathematics or statistics. So if you have experience in that aspect, then you have to emphasize that in your application, like in your CV and in your SOP, your motivation letter. So yes, you need to be able to demonstrate that you have, because it's graduate school, it's not bachelor's. So you need to demonstrate that you have enough residual knowledge basically. So I hope that answers the question. Any
Yeah.
age limit? I think according to the
Yes.
website,
Masters is 30 and PhD is 35.
exactly. So
Uh, did you tell them that Thual is known for the orange juice and
the fish. So
the fish? It's
I didn't explain that
you
part.
didn't you didn't tell them.
I was more focused on, KAUST and the programs offered in KAUST. So yeah, KAUST is in a very small town or village called Thowell. I mean, village, you know,
Village is very generic.
generic,
The
yeah.
campus is bigger than the whole of Athens, Greece. How can you say it's in a small village, right?
So, yeah, it's in Thowell, and Thowell is known for its fish because, like I said, actually, KAUST is on the Red Sea. The school itself is surrounded by the Red Sea.
Bible scholars,
So
take notes. You want to see where Moses the troublemakers.
yeah, so there's lots of fresh fish. How can someone apply for this scholarship? You can just click on the links. I dropped them in the chat. Maybe I will share my slides again.
What I try to do, Michael, for my students is they reach out to us so that we can sort of help filter the people who can qualify, because there's the question of, is it possible for a Nigerian degree to get into KUST, which we know that there's no.
It can be. It might be challenging.
Exactly.
But,
let's say exactly. That's the right word.
That's why I also talked about the VSRP, right? I know people who have come from Nigeria for the VSRP, which is the Visiting Students Research Program. That can range from 1 month to 6 months. And it's basically the same thing. They'll cover your tickets, they pay you monthly,
exactly.
So that opportunity is there. It's open to Nigerians. If you have any degree from abroad, that gives you an edge, like a bigger edge. But yes, as a Nigerian, nothing stops you from applying.
KAUST is like the Galacticos of universities right now, where they want to get the very best talent from all over the world.
That's great.
And put them in their campus, because, guys, it's the most beautiful campus I've ever seen. It's a beautiful place. It's well thought out. The amount of money they have in endowment, so like money never finish kind of thing. Then you get the best students from all over the world. Then you now have the richest, one of the richest countries with Aramco oil, where you can get into one of the biggest companies, and they're working with different nationalities. So that's the most intriguing thing about it for me. If you're a student and you're serious about education, you're serious about science and technology, we want to be able to help you, through this particular process. We're not talking about KUST because of the free opportunities or the scholarship. We're talking just like Real Madrid, like we'll say, or, Man U back in the day, where it's like we want the best of the best. We want to help the best of the best, get into this space and, do some very interesting research. I don't know if Michael wants to talk about a bit of what his research is. You've been there for like 4 years now.
So I've been around for 6 years in total. I did my master's here, and then I proceeded I'm rounding on my PhD actually.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if the audience is interested in.
But I mean, you could just give them the topic, just to have an idea of how innovative you guys are. Because
Okay, my research is on carbon capture. Carbon capture is a buzzword these days for, helping the climate, right? I feel like it's something that is important for Nigeria. And in terms of sustainability, the current administration still talks a little bit about sustainability. But for where I am in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and many other, especially in Europe, they take this much more seriously. So like I said, my research is currently being applied by Saudi's electricity company, which is like Nigerian's PHCN, or what's used to be PHCN.
No, it's Ikeja Electric. How many years did you live that you don't know what it's called? Ikeja Electric, Abuja Electric.
Okay, so now they've I know they've separated everything to discos, right? And transfer.
Yeah.
So, but I'm trying to give them an idea from before. Like, so what Nigerian PHCN used to do combined with NNPC, that's what Saudi Electricity Company is, because they generate the energy and they also disperse it to the people. So they're applying this research currently with one of their refineries. So it's carbon capture. If you're a chemical engineering student, you'll probably understand that better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chief Oladipo has already mentioned, it's a university that is focused on getting the best research. I mentioned in the beginning that we've been rated by QS ranking, which is the #1 ranking organization for educational
Oh,
institutions
yeah.
globally. We've been rated #1 in terms of the quality of our research, so globally.
Yeah.
And, this was achieved in under 16 years, which is a huge feat.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. But I mean, we all know, just like with Harvard, that money and endowment is like the most critical part of
Oh, yes, you need to fund it for
research. And
research.
so when your school has $20 billion in the account,
You
right?
need money for
Even
research.
Harvard, with all their billionaires supporting them and making commitments and pledges, it's not like having that money in your account, you know. And
Yes,
that's the most critical thing: the passion for education and innovation, the passion for saying that you have the talent, come and actually do this work actively, will support you. And that's really what's going to get things done. That's what's going to fast track.
that is
In 16 years, you can catch up with people who have been doing this for 200, 300 years and the likes.
that's correct. So I think I'm also seeing some
Yes.
questions in the chat. Someone is asking if the interview is going to be online. Yes, the information is on the website, which I'm sure the Leeway people will relate to you.
Yeah.
But just to give a comment on it, the interview is going to be online. Initially, they used to do, at least when I got into the university, they used to do 2 of them online and 1 physical. Actually, then they used to fly people to go and do the last interview.
Again, Galactical University, because what is that? These
Yeah,
are pretty
so
fascinating things to hear. Yeah.
exactly. They used to fly people. So I was doing my undergraduate in Russia at that time, and they flew me to Dubai to do the physical interview. But now, because of, COVID happened and everything had to move online, and that helped them save lots of money, so they stopped with online. So all the interview will be online. Somebody asked if it's possible to move that country to another. Like, I'm not sure I understand the question correctly, but probably you're asking if you can move from the UK or Canada to KAUST. I guess the answer.
For us to the UK or Canada, yes.
Oh, can you
I
move
think that's
from
yeah.
KAUST to the UK? Of course, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, I know
Particularly because oil and gas is big in Saudi Arabia, and
Yes,
Canada and the US also has that. So that's one. And
yes,
science and tech as well, with STEM
yes.
being the #1 thing in the UK and the US.
Exactly. So it's very easy. And the thing is, we actually have most of the supervisors have connections and relationship with companies in the US, the UK, and Europe. So,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, Air Products, for example. So, Air Products is from the US, and they have lots of money that they put into researching here. So, if you're the best one doing it here, or you're one of the team doing it here, they don't mind having you join them later on. And the same thing goes with Aramco and every other big company like Dow. So,
Yes.
yeah.
It was also fascinating to see that a lot of your lecturers are also international,
Oh, yes,
what we call
yes.
international students, or international lecturers, because you've got lecturers from all over the world. And it's also, again, you put galacticals of lecturers and professors, right?
That's true.
The best of the best of the best. And that's really the most exciting thing about KUST, and letting people know about this opportunity. The patience to also follow through the due process and understand that you're going there to make change. You're not going there for fun. Because I remember the first night that we spent some time talking about the university. One of the things I could never just forget was that you were basically telling me that I'm a Nigerian, but if you don't follow the rule of law here, you know go last.
Yeah, that's
And that was pretty interesting to note, right? And that's why I said that for us, we also do a sort of sieving mechanism where we know that we also want to work with the best of the best. It's not just about the money that you think you have or the opportunity that you have. You must be prepared to actually follow the due process to also be successful.
Yes. That's everything you said is true. You don't get it on a platter of gold. You plan very well for it and you commit yourself to being productive. Yes.
Thank you, Michael, for your time. I don't know if you have any other questions or if anybody has questions on other countries and things like that. I'm going to step out now for my team to be able to continue their work. I don't know if Michael will still obviously be here. So if you guys have any questions, you can raise your hand, or we still have about 10 minutes. It's supposed to be a very short session. You want to talk about anything or any other country, then we can just you can raise your hand and ask questions, and my team can help. Again, thank you so much for the time, Michael. We can't wait to continue to celebrate you. We'll start bringing you to Nigeria as a guest lecturer and things like that.
I'm
Okay.
looking forward to this as well.
Yes. So, Ajayi Tilayo, you're asking about UK and Canada scholarships. So just like I always say in any webinar I'm able to join or any of my sessions online or content and talking heads, scholarships are available in every country. It will vary across countries and across who is funding the scholarships. If you have the right results, then you can take the next step of trying to find what is right for you, which is basically what do I want to study, where do I want to study, who's going to fund my study, which is sort of the cardinal rules for scholarships. And I'm sure that Cynthia is going to reply your chat. You can send her a message and you can begin these steps with the team. It's the same for Poland. Now, Poland, like a lot of Schengen countries, has been difficult for Nigerians in recent time, particularly at the visa stage, because of the fraud that has gone on. It's possible, but it's very, very difficult. Again, you will find with us that we tell you the truth. We don't have time to lie to you, right? Do we have one or two people that are even still there? Yes. Is it going to be easy? No. Sweden and New Zealand is also a very good option. Sweden also has a lot of funding. New Zealand also has some funding. Obviously, New Zealand is basically the farthest country. In fact, they are ready tomorrow while we are still here in Nigeria today, right? Sweden is also very good. Sweden has a lot of global funding opportunities. A lot of these countries fund, particularly at master's and PhD level, because you must understand that the biggest countries understand that the more money we spend bringing the best talent, the better our country is. It's the easiest definition for what education is. It's only Africa that does not understand that.
That's true. That's very true.
But shout out to University of Cape Town because they are hosting the World Academic Summit this year, and it's because their management understands that. In conjunction with the University of Bristol. Yeah, they were here. They were there last. Was it October when we had the World Academic Summit?
Around in October.
Yes, hosted by. So Saudi Arabia hosted it last year. South Africa and UK hosted this year, but it's going to be present in Cape Town, South Africa. All right, Juliana, I've answered the question. Any other question? We have less than about 5 minutes left. Isaac, can I hand over back to you now?
Yeah, you already did most of the work. Thank you for coming in as my substitute. So thank you, Michael. Please, if you have any questions, we have our contact details in the chat box. You can please reach out to any of our study advisors. You can also send our email. Our office is in Ikeja, Lagos, so you can walk in at any time on Monday to Friday, and we're here for you. If you do have any inquiries, questions, if you have interest going to KUST, obviously that's why you're here. You can send your emails to anybody in the contact details listed. We have about 5 minutes to go. So Michael is still available for any more questions. I think there's one question. Okay, so
you can go already.
All right, so Xavier, yeah, one of our study advisors will reach out to you shortly, and we'll take down your details, and then we'll speak with you concerning this question. Okay, so Michael, there's a question for you in the chat box.
Yes. Which of them? So let me see. Is it the test requirements or the how to apply for the scholarship?
The test requirements.
Yes, so the test requirements, like I said, they don't compromise on this actually. The requirement is standardized. If you are from US, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, UK, you are exempted from providing a test of English as, test of English certificates like TOEFL and IELTS. If you studied in these countries as well, you are exempted, irrespective of your nationality. If you studied there, you are exempted. But if you studied in Nigeria, if you completed your education in Nigeria, you will need to provide an English language certificate. So there is no two ways about it. I've tried with many people for so many times, and they usually don't compromise on that. There are other universities that might compromise on that, like I mentioned briefly. There's the one called Khalifa University in Abu Dhabi. They will still ask you for it, but at least they will give you admission before they ask you for it. In case of CAUS, you can't even complete your application if you don't have that certificate, or they will tell you to provide it before they consider your application. So yes. Great, you can reach out to the Ilewe guys for where you can apply for MSc in computer science. I would say that KAUST has a computer science program, however. So if it's a place you're considering, I'm sure the Ilewe guys can give you enough guidance on how to apply for it.
All right, thank you, Michael. We can take one more question. If you do have any question, one more question before we close for today.
Yes, please.
All right, before we close, the recorded version will be live on YouTube before next week. So please ensure you subscribe. I already dropped in the link, but I will drop it again. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and you'll get free access to this recorded version. I'm sure there are a lot of things that Michael has said that you would like to listen to again for more understanding. So before we close, I'll send in the chat box the recorded version. So once again, Michael, thank you again for joining us. It was a very, very successful session, and I hope to see you in Saudi Arabia soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day.
Bye.